Hi everyone, and welcome back to Zone 3 and Thriving. So for those of you that are new to the channel, Zone 3 and Thriving is gardening in Saskatchewan, Canada in a Zone 3. So we are in a cold zone, which means that we get hot, dry summers because we're prairie, and in the winter we can get minus 40 Celsius temperatures with a wind which can take it into the minus 50s. But yet, with this climate, we can grow beautiful gardens using some common techniques and planting plants that thrive in a Zone 3 climate. In today's video, with Christmas right around the bend, it's time to get into all those beautiful holiday plants and plant them up so you can have blooms in time for Christmas. And you can use them for table displays, in windows, or wherever you like so you can enjoy them and get some of that Christmas cheer into your home. So let me show you what we're working with today. So my theme in my kitchen and in parts of my house for Christmas is gonna be shades of pink. And one thing I like to do is use pink containers or white containers to enhance my color theme, whatever it may be every year. So I have this container. I've used it before in videos for Easter because it's just a glorious pink and it's got a woven texture to it which makes it really beautiful. There are no holes in this, so there's no worries about leakage, and it's perfect for planting any sort of bulbs in it for a winter display. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. We are gonna make an arrangement in here that's gonna consist of amaryllis and paper whites and get something going so I can enjoy beautiful blooms at Christmas and throughout the season. And then we can keep these bulbs into the spring, summer, and bring them back out to have another glorious display next year. So there's no waste here with doing bulbs unless you choose, and that's totally individual preference, unless you choose to buy new ones every year. And sometimes I do that. It really depends. Let me show you what we're working with. So this one here has really taken off. Look at how gorgeous this one is. And this is Maryland. Maryland is a beautiful white chartreuse green amaryllis. This one is really ahead of its time. A little bit of stuff on it, but no big deal. And you can see it is going to town. And the reason it's so far ahead is because I pre-soaked. It's nice and firm. It's got a good covering, almost like an onion. I think these are beautiful. The next two that I'm going to show you that are in this arrangement are two of the dashers. I got these at Dutch Growers, which is a greenhouse in Regina, Saskatchewan, and they have beautiful amaryllis. They're a little more expensive. Sometimes you get larger bulbs, but they are gorgeous. And I'm using them for the pink color. And here they are right here. You can see lots of healthy growth on them, and we're already starting to see shoots on both of them. And finally, just to make this arrangement more interesting, I am going with Aquarelle. And you can see here, it is a white with a pink center, and that's to pull all the colors in. Now, this one doesn't have quite so many green shoots on the bottom, but just the same, it's starting to come alive, or to wake up is another way of putting it. Now, one of the things I like to do is I like to pre-soak my bulbs. And I will show you here how I do that. But basically, I am taking a pie plate, a used pie plate, this one's used for barbecuing, and I put all my bulbs on it and I soak them for 30 minutes in water. And an example of that is how I handle paper whites. So here's my paper whites after they've been soaked. I did soak the amaryllis too, and you can see here they're still a little damp, but they're already starting to send up shoots. And I really like to do this. You can see the shoots coming there. It gives me an opportunity to really inspect the bulbs and give them a head start so I have blooms in time for the holidays. So that is something I do. Now, with soaking your bulbs, it's only 30 minutes in cool water. I don't put them in warm water, and then out and drained, because you don't want to rot the bulbs, but it does give them a head start. It works great on dahlias, it works great on gladiolas, and some of those. You can even do it with tulips if you're to plant them in the spring, if you've given them the cooling off period. So it works really good. So what are we using today to grow these beautiful bulbs? Because we are planting so many, I mean there's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 of the paper whites, 4 amaryllis. That's why I picked the pink container, because it was significantly large. I am using a good potting mix, seed starting mixture that I mixed myself. I just added them in, because you want your soil nice and light and fluffy, because bulbs will rot. So a seed starting mix mixed in with a bit of potting soil works great. You can also use cactus soil in your mix. And what I have done to this mix is I have taken this mix and I have added boiling water to it, and I have treated the soil for gnats. And that works great. I do have videos on this technique, but it works really good. And you can see the soil is breaking up nicely here. So that is a perfect medium for growing bulbs. If you wanted to, if your soil is still a little heavy, you could add a bit of sand into it, or some perlite and vermiculite to lighten the soil, and also to bring more oxygen into the soil. The other thing I'm using is perlite. Now it's winter here in Saskatchewan, and I always feel that I want my plants to have a wintry feel. You can use all sorts of different types of moss on your plants to give them a beautiful earthy feel, a garden feel, a green feel, and make it feel like it's outside. I am putting a lot of bulbs in this container, but I want that wintry feel and I want the colors to stand out. So I use perlite as a topper instead of those things, because I think it's beautiful and it gives me that winter feel for Christmas, and that's what I like. Totally up to you what you want to use, if you want to use anything. This is light, and this is why I like it, because the bulbs can push up through this perlite easily, and it doesn't constrict their growth, whereas a thicker sphagnum moss may prevent that and make it more difficult for them to shoot up. So you kind of want to put that moss around your bulbs instead of on top of them. But this we can put right on top, particularly the paper whites, and they'll just push right through it, and it gives us that Christmas feel. So let's get started here. Get some action going. And first thing we're going to do is we're just going to put all this soil into this container. Very carefully so I don't make a big mess. And I am going to use all of it. And then we're just going to spread it out. And the first bulbs I want to put in here are the amaryllis, and then we're going to put the paper whites around it. When you plant amaryllis, you do not want to plant them too deep. But if you plant them too shallow, they will fall over and they will need staking. So just beware of that. So I am just going to come in here and lightly put them in. It is okay to cover them up halfway up the bulb. Just don't cover this, especially if you're watering them. And we'll talk about watering in a minute. So I'm just going to put these in, and I'm going to use the dashers first and kind of move them around here. And I want this to be just kind of a modern look. And then we're gonna take Marilyn here, such an easy name to remember. And we're gonna put Marilyn here in the back, and I'm just gonna scoot Dasher over. And you basically don't want them touching. And you're gonna push your soil down. And I'm just gonna scoot them over. And this is something that I do sometimes if I don't like the placement of what I'm growing. You can also base these on how you plant them on the height of the amaryllis, because not all amaryllis grow to the same height. It's totally up to you. And then we're going to put aqua row here in the front. I'm just taking it. It's all tangled up in the roots here. Another thing you can do is you can cut some of these roots off if you want to. I'm just going to use them as is. Put her in there really good. Make sure she's scooted back from Marilyn, who is just wonderful with her growth. And then firm the soil down around these. And there's a root sticking up there. So we'll just push it in and make sure we make good contact to give them some support. You can use colorful tree branches from your garden in here to provide some support. I mean, creativity can go wild with these plantings. Now, for the paper whites, I'm just gonna kind of put most of them in the front here, and then I'm gonna scatter them around. They are not gonna be as tall as the amaryllis, so it's a really nice filler. And once again, we're gonna put these a little bit deeper. There we go. We have some more here. This one doesn't look as good, but we're just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna destroy the bulb for that. Now, because I have pre-soaked these, I will not water these again. That way I don't have any fear of rot because they've been pre-soaked. So they've got the moisture they need and the soil is damp, which makes it a perfect medium for growing these. And when you plant these, of course, you want to put the roots up because, you know, that's just how you do it, and you don't want them growing all funky. So I'm just going to make space here. And I don't mind if I put them right against the edge because they will be just fine. They're a seasonal plant, so you can plant these however you like. And just slide another one in here because we want it to be full. And you don't have to be too careful with them. And I'm just going to scoot this one over a bit and make room right in here, and then turn this one sideways and push them down and uncover that top. There we go. Double check them. You want to be careful when they're starting to shoot up like this one that you don't snap that top off. That is key. And of course you can remove any debris off the bulbs. Same with this. We have a root coming up. I'm just going to pull it off. It's not hurting the plant. And then push that root down so we can retain water. Now, we're going to top this up and make it beautiful. Just going to push that back and bring in the perlite. So this is Dasher and Dasher, Marilyn, who's really tall, and then Aquaro is here. So here we come in with the perlite, just to give it that wintry feel. And we're just gonna dot it all amongst these. And then we'll spread it out after. And you can put as much or as little on here. I like to cover all the soil to make it very wintry and very pretty. I'll just turn this around. And then if you get any in the shoots, I just dust it off. It's not going to hurt them if it gets in there. And any area that is showing some soil, I just like to cover it. We can add a little bit more. And we're not wasting this soil and we're not wasting this perlite because we can use it in the soil. We can mix more soil in when we disassemble this arrangement and use it for other projects, which is like seed starting. And I'm just going to cover that over and just scoot it around the plants. And the paper whites, which you cannot see right now, except for that one there, will come right through this, no trouble. That is nothing for them to pop through, and we have a wintry scene. If you have some colorful stems, which I mentioned earlier in your garden, yellow and red dogwoods, burning bushes, purple plums like this, you can use these stems in your arrangement because you might say, hey Jack, that's kind of boring. Well, yeah, it's boring until the bulbs, come up and bestow us with their beauty. But we can add some winter interest to this. And you can cherry pick how much of this you want to add and don't add. And the thing about this is when you put it in, use your finger to feel around before you push it in the ground. And this will also provide some support to the amaryllis. And I have two here that I just went and cut from the garden. And I'm just gonna feel in here, and you can feel it. And you can put it in. And if you wrap the branches like this around the plant and put it in, you can see here, these stems are going to provide the support. And you can trim these up whatever way you like. This one here that I'm going to use is really quite large. So I'm just going to feel in here and feel for those bulbs where they're sitting, because you don't want to penetrate them, right? You want to go down right beside them. So feel around when you put them in, and you can tell by the pressure of what you're getting. So look at all the support they're getting here. I mean, it's very festive, quite honestly. And then you might say, that's okay, Jack, but it's still boring as heck because there's no color right now. Let's fix that. So I went and I cut a beautiful blue spruce branch. Isn't that gorgeous? I just rinsed all the snow off of it. So to add this to your arrangement, you can decide how you want it to look and feel. You can use it as a backdrop in here, like that. Doesn't it give it a lot of festive color? I mean, what's more beautiful than evergreens in the winter? Or in my case, I'm gonna cut some of these stems off here. And let me tell you, it was cold on the hands cutting these. And just cut it off like that and stick it around your bulbs. That's a nice thing about having trees in your garden and shrubs, is that it gives you some opportunities for design. And just feel in there. Now these are going to be fine because there's moisture in the soil, plus I wet these down because I had to get the snow off, so there is moisture in these. So I'm just dotting these all along the edge because I know it's a safe area to put these for winter interest. And look at how this is changing. And I've said this in previous videos, but when I do some of this kind of work, I kind of feel like a bit of a mad scientist when I do floral designs, which is really, really cool. So we're just gonna cut some of that off. I'm just using scissors for this. It works just fine. And just go in there around the plant and gently push it in. And these sticks will also help keep your evergreens up. You can also angle them forward, not upright, like that, for your arrangement. So you can do this a couple different ways. You literally come in like that and put them in the edge. Just feel around. That's why I like using them around the edge and between the bulbs, because they really, and you see, might need to get my pruners out. And I'm just gonna scale this up a bit more, just to give it more of a point to put in the soil. And we're just gonna turn this around and come into the back here and find a spot where I'm not hitting anything. Perfect, right there. And make it whole. And we'll just use a bit more of this green. This is all I have left. I'm just going to take off a few more stems and take off the nicer stems that have some nice shape to them. And just, oh, there's nothing there. Perfect. And point them in. I don't even mind Charlie Brown look because it's natural looking. Let's see what else we can use here. Try not to waste anything. Doesn't it look more forest-like? And then you can use these individual ones to spot fill in your arrangement. And we can see there's a gap right back there, which looks kind of natural, but hey, why not just put something in there? There we go. And the more fragrant the branches are, the more of a Christmas feel you're gonna get from your arrangement. We could even use this large piece that I have butchered. We'll just take some more off of it and let it be that Charlie Brown tree and stick it in here. And this is where it gets entertaining. There. Now, I'm just going to use, I'm not wasting anything on this branch. You can see that there. Nothing is wasted. Look at that. Now, if you want to take it to the next level and throw some creativity into it and make it look like the Hansel and Gretel forest, you could also come in here if you don't have a lot of bulbs in there. And I'm just going to do this for demo purposes because I've got so many bulbs in here. I don't want to do that. But you could come in and put in gingerbread houses in there for color. So you could do that too. You could put a couple of them in there. But because we have so much in here and we have bulbs that are going to come up, it's not suitable at this point. But had I did a bigger arrangement, I would have put some in here, but I know the bulbs are in there. Here is what it's looking like with my finished forest Amaryllis and Paperwhite project. You can see here all the greenery, the twigs in it to give it some support, and all the perlite that gives it that festive winter touch. I think it looks beautiful, and it'll even be better when all the greenery comes up and takes off. And I'll show you what it looks like later on. I think it'll be even better when everything's in bloom. And it looks like that's not gonna take too long. It looks way better when I hold it up like this. You always have a good side and a side maybe that isn't as good, just like us humans do when we take photos. But look at how beautiful that is with the different shades of blues, the white to symbolize the snow, and the branches to provide some winter interest. And I kept them in their natural form, the branches, because I wanted a natural look to this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. There's lots more coming. We're going to dive into the holiday plants, and I'm going to shoot some videos on that and share with you some of my tips and tricks for growing some of these different plants. And the ones we can keep as house plants, I will share some of the tips that I use to keep them going. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe comment, and please share my videos out because the algorithm doesn't really push my content very much. And I would appreciate all your support and hear from you in the comments. So let's start the season off right and get some festive cheer into it, no matter how big or how small it is. Look back at those family traditions, the things that made you smile. Look back at those events or situations that made us humble. And let's be grateful this year with what we have, whatever that is. Thank you, everybody. See you in the next video.